Okay, we're continuing with our Scrabble type thing. We have a tile class already. We have a tile bag or set, which contains all the letters. Now we're going to look at the individual racks that would be part of the game. Part of the idea is that, well, while the game manager is going to have, well, how many tile racks? Well, it's going to be, again, a vector of tile racks, right? Because we don't know how many players are going to be. They could be 2 or 7 or 3. I'm probably going to hard code the number rather than build all those pieces in. But for right now, we can make a vector of tile racks, and then those tile racks will each have be filled with 7. So we're going to be able to put tiles into them. So we're going to take it out of the tile set, put into the tile rack, and then the tile rack we're going to have to sort of print and do pieces like that. So right now the code is basically we have our pool of tiles which we can fill and print out to make sure it's in there. And what are we going to have over here? Well, we're going to have a vector of tile racks called player racks. Let's just call it racks. All right, so those are the things where we place our letters in. So we're going to have to start with them empty, and then we're going to have to take them out of the pool and put them in there. Just to make it compile, we know we're going to need vector. We're going to need a using namespace because we have vector, and we not only have the tile bag in here, but we have the tile rack. Hopefully that'll get it to compile. Okay, we're all good. Still printing it. And then the idea is that below here we're going to create and fill up 4 racks and then print out those racks, and then when we print out the tile bag, those letters shouldn't be in there. So that's kind of the plan. So over here in the tile rack, we're going to have some similar things to the tile bag. Let's look at the header file. That will make more sense. All right, we're going to have a vector of tiles, and then we're going to add those tiles in there. So over here in the rack, we're going to have a vector of tiles, right, which are the letters, the rack. To get that to compile, of course, we're going to need this stuff. And then what methods? Well, the first thing that we're going to have is we're going to have a print, right, to show what's in there. We're going to need to somehow get tiles into the rack, so we're going to have add tile, which is going to be passed to tile, and then it's going to take that tile and stick it in the rack. And we'll worry about the sort of the other pieces that we have, like taking these out, sort and shuffling. We'll worry about them after we get stuff in there and we can see. Okay, so we have a print and we have an add to file. So that's over here in the rack. Oops. Missed my cut and paste. Okay. These are a member of the tile rack class. So I'll stick that in there and stick that in there. Put that in. Oh, and fix my indenting. It was upsetting for a little while. Okay. Printing the tile rack. Well, you know what? That's going to be the exact same as printing the tile bag. So, we are just going to grab that code, stick it in there. This is called the rack. we're not going to need that new line, and even though I changed it, I think we're not going to put it in there, although we do want a rack on the line by itself. So we'll put that in there. So we have our print routine, which is copied from the other one. Now we need to add a tile. Let's see, we're going to call it tile T. So we're passing a tile in, and really, how do we use that? Well, vectors are going to nicely give us, right, that pushback function. And I'm going to stick it in there. I could have made this an inline function. It's short enough, but I suppose we would check to make sure that there's numbers anyway. Anyway, I already have it here. I'm not going to make it inline. So, does it compile? Let's see. Cout was not declared. Kind of planning ahead. I know I'm going to need algorithm later on. So now, does it compile yet? Yeah, it compiles. So we have a add tile, which is just given a tile. It'll stick it in there. But right, the idea is that we're going to take out of the tile set and put in there. So in the tile set, we're going to need to sort of pull out a tile. So let's go look at our tile set function, our header first. Wait. Oh, tile bag, I'm sorry. And we're going to have a function that returns a tile. Let's call it remove. Right, which will take one of them out of the vector. And I suppose we should also have a Boolean called empty, because we don't want to try and remove things from an empty bag. So we'll go over into our bag. Stick them down here. These are members of the tile set, tile bag. Right, you use what the editor provides or the IDE provides, and I'll use that formatting thing for me. How do we remove it? Well, we recall that well, we're going to need a tile to send back. I'm going to call that return value. And so we want to take one out of our bag. And if you think about it, right, a vector has kind of a beginning and an end. We don't have to necessarily have the begin be one end of the bag. We can also pull it out of the end. And that is going to end up being more efficient, is to just take that last item out and use it. Now you'll recall that there is a pop back function. It's called pop back. And what this does is this removes the one from the end, but by the time I call pop back, it's too late. It's already gone. So I need to save it first. Right, so there's my return value, and I'm going to use the built-in function back. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong key. Which kind of works with popback and gives me the last element. Now again, it makes a copy of it, so it's going to take a copy of the back, the last one, stick it in here, take it out of the bag. So now it's out of the bag, and now I'm going to return, right, what I want to send back, right? And I just like this name, return value, because I'm doing that. Oh, and then while I'm here, this is a short one. Yeah, just return mbag empty, right? Because the empty method tells whether it's empty. So, right, if my bag is empty, then my tile bag is empty. Right, so kind of use all of those built-in pieces. I mean, I could have put front and then pop front, but I know that back and pop back are more efficient than front and pop front. I don't even know if there is a push front or pop front on the tile bag, but anyway, for vectors, that's what we want. So does this compile? Yes, it compiles. Okay, so we have our 100 tiles. We have some routines. Let's test them and see if they work. Now, the place that we're going to need to do that is the game manager, right? So we have a remove, which returns a tile in the tile bag. So let's go to our game manager. It has the bags, the vectors. We're going to need at least one item in the vector to do that. So let's go look at our start. So out here in start, I'm just going to stick in a bunch of tile racks. It'll create an empty tile rack, and let's just put 2 of them in there. Right, so I'm putting 2 temps in there, so it creates an empty vector here, sticks it in there, sticks it in there, and then I want to fill them. So let's just so I can quick compile something, right? They'd be called 0 and 1. So what do I need to push? Well, for the racks, my procedure is add tile. So I want to add a tile, and the tile I want comes from the bag, right? Remove, right? Remove returns a tile, right? So I kind of planned ahead to set that up, so I can go into my pool and remove it, right? All right, and we have 2 of them. I'll put these in loops in a second after I test them. Let's see what I'm missing. Well, I don't seem to be missing anything. Okay. Right, we can print them. See if I need formatting and stuff like that. One has an E, the other one has an N. Well, looking good. So let's put some loops in here. Let's see. We have tiles. Right, so we're going to have 7 tiles in each. And then we use R for the number of racks in it. Let's say we have, I don't know, 4 players. It's a shame to hard code that number 4 in because I know I'm going to have to change it, but we'll stick it in there. So what we'll do is to initialize it here. Alright, we'll, for each of the players, we'll create a rack. Alright, create a rack for the player. It'll be marked by R, and then we'll add 7 tiles to that rack, and then we'll print that rack. Right. Again, these would probably be all separate procedures, but I'm not really doing anything in Game Manager except testing all the other pieces that I'm doing. But you can see that this is the big one, tying them together. But I'm using individual elements, right? This M racks of R is an individual tile rack, so it has that print procedure attached to it. And then after that's all done, let's print the tile pool again. Make sure it has shrunk down. Let's see what we got. Tile was not declared. Oh, I switched from single to plural. Probably should use T if I'm using R, but run it. What do we got? So let's see. We have our initial one. We have 4 racks, right? A, F, right? It's going backwards, forwards here, backwards there. A, F, I, E, M, S, D, and so on. So that they're all the pieces, right, are there individually. Looking good. Okay, I gotta stop this one before I do the next piece.